We'll move on to the land acknowledgement. Councillor Story, are you prepared to do that one? No? If you don't have the wording, I can do it.
If you wouldn't mind, Judy.
Sure, no
Thank
problem. We acknowledge that we are on the lands of Anishinaabe Nation. This spot where we gather is the traditional land of the Three Fires Confederacy, the Ottawa, Potawatomi, and Ojibwe. We also recognize that this land is now home to the Delaware Nation. This land was settled through the McKee Purchase Treaty of 1790, and we, as beneficiaries of the treaty, must recognize our responsibilities, including our collective responsibilities to the land and water. Mr. Mayor, we do not have a supplementary agenda this evening, and we have not had any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, on any open session agenda items. So we'll move to planning services.
Good evening, Mayor Caniff, members of council. Planning meeting process. So the process to be followed for each application will be as follows. 1, the clerk will announce each individual planning item. 2, the mayor will ask if there's anyone present other than the applicant with or their agent with an interest in the item, and to indicate so by raising their hand. 3, the clerk will advise if written or video submissions have been received. 4, if anyone is present indicating an interest in the item, or if written or video submissions have been received, there will be a presentation by administration. 5, individuals with an interest in the item other than the applicant will be asked to proceed to the podium, provide their name and address, and address council, and the clerk will read the written submissions and play video submissions that have been received. 6, the applicant will be asked to proceed to the podium and address council. 7, administration will be asked if they have any comments based on discussion that may have occurred, and 8, council will be asked what action it wishes to take with regard to the item. Notice. If any person or public body that files an appeal decision in council in respect of the proposed applications does not make oral or written submission to the municipal clerk before the proposal is approved, they are not entitled to appeal a decision to the Ontario Land Tribunal if otherwise eligible, unless in the opinion of the tribunal there are reasonable grounds to add the person or public body as a party to the appeal. Information on council's actions tonight will be posted on the municipal website. All persons who have made a request or who have made a written or oral submission regarding a particular planning item will receive a notice of council's decision, including appeal procedures. Any other person who wishes to receive a notice of decision must submit a written request to municipal clerk. Thank you.
11A, applications for consent and zoning bylaw amendment. William and Ruth Ann Toth, 6455 10th Line, Community of Raleigh, South Kent.
Is there anyone present other than the applicant and or their agent with an interest in this application? Please raise your hand. Seeing none, does council have any questions? Councillor Sakachi and Councillor Doyle, can I get you to move this, please?
Happy to move it, Mayor Caniff.
Happy to second it. Seeing no other questions, we'll put it to vote.
Councillor McGrail? Thank you. And all votes are in. Motion passes 13-0. 11B, applications for consent and zoning bylaw amendment. Mary Jeanette Simmons, 12481 Ridge Street, Community of Howard, East Kent.
Is there anyone present other than the applicant and or their agent with an interest in this application? If so, please raise your hand. Seeing none, Councillor Wright and Councillor Hall, can I get you to move this, please?
Thank you, Mayor Caniff. I'll move that.
So seconded. Any questions? Seeing none, we'll put it to vote.
Councillor McGrail?
Yes.
Thank you. All votes are in. Motion passes 13-0. 11C, application for consent and zoning bylaw amendment. 538563 Ontario Limited, 19327 Fargo Road, Community of Blenheim, South Kent.
Is there anyone present other than the applicant and their agent with an interest in this application? And to indicate, please raise your hand. Okay, we will come to you shortly after the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Caniff. The municipality has received applications for consent and zoning bylaw amendment for the property located along Fargo Road in the community of Blenheim. Subject property is approximately 38 acres in area and situated at the most southwesterly extent of Blenheim. The property contains a single detached dwelling and one outbuilding that's accessory to this residential use. The balance of the lands are currently cultivated farmland. The application is to sever the existing dwelling and outbuilding onto a new 1.8 acre residential parcel. This parcel will retain the most northerly frontage along Fargo Road, where there's an existing access to the dwelling. And the zoning bylaw amendment application is to facilitate this severance by rezoning that severed parcel to an appropriate residential zone. The balance of the lands, which are shown as retained parcel on the key map before council, the rear approximately half of these lands are designated residential area. They form part of a draft plan of subdivision that was approved in 1998. The vacant portion of the lands consists of the phase 3 of this development that's yet to be developed, and consists of approximately 38 residential lots. The front half or front portion of the retained parcel will remain in deferred development zone, which only permits existing agricultural uses. These lands the use of these lands will not change until in the future a development proposal or a development plan is pursued, which would typically be a draft plan of subdivision or a secondary plan, both of which would require council approval. The retained parcel is approximately 36 acres in area. And so to summarize, the proposal is basically to sever existing development from the larger parcel and leave the retained parcel for orderly development in the future. With that, it is recommended that consent application file B-13222 to sever and convey a residential parcel approximately 79,000 square feet in area, shown as parts 2, 3, and 4 on the applicant's sketch, and part of lot 9, concession 1, west of Communication Road in the community of Blenheim, be approved, subject to the conditions on the Planning Service report dated January 13th, 2023, and 2, that zoning bylaw amendment application file D14 BL 64220 be approved and the implementing bylaw be adopted. Thank you.
So I think it's Rochelle Wallace. Please come forward to do your presentation. Just to remind all speakers this evening, we have a maximum of 5 minutes and the timer will be on the screen.
Thank you for the opportunity to express our opinion. Before the present development, 1998, went in, we were asked to sign a document saying that we had no objection to the development. On that document was a clause specifying that no house was to be taller than the house that existed on Regent Street. Also, a second exit would be built linking the new road to Snow Ave. With the death of the developer, apparently the agreement died also. All new developments presently require 2 exits. We are asking that the exit linked to Snow Avenue be built before any other items are allowed to start on the Fargo subdivision. An emergency happened last summer in the present subdivision. The emergency was attended by police, an ambulance, and a fire truck. The result was that no one could leave or enter because of the blocked street. I consider this to be a safety problem. The existing subdivision is 1 kilometer long, and when it is blocked, there's no other way out. As a result, because there's only one entrance, we are subjected to a parade of noisy construction vehicles, cars, etc., which we would prefer not to have repeated. Thank you.
Does council have any questions? Seeing none, can I get Councillor Doyle and Councillor Thompson to move this, please?
I'll move that.
I'll second it. Thank you.
Seeing no other questions, we'll put it to vote.
Councillor McGrail?
Yes.
Thank you. All votes are in. Motion passes 13-0. Moving on to 11D, application for zoning bylaw amendment 1983245 Ontario Limited and 100002516 Ontario Limited, 6 and 7 Indian Creek Road East, and 855 Charing Cross Road, Community of Chatham, South Kent and City.
Is there anyone present other than the applicant with an interest in the application? Please raise your hand.
Mr. Mayor, I do have one letter of support from Chris Piersanti, and I can read that now. We are the property managers for 2506729 Ontario Inc., the owners of 835 Queen Street, Chatham, the No Frills Plaza. We are in support of the rezoning of the above property to urban commercial HC1, provided, and it seems clear in the UC HC1 zoning, that a supermarket is not permitted use under this zoning category. We would object to any zoning category that added a supermarket use.
Councillor Thompson and Councillor Scotchy, can I get you to move this, please?
Happy to move it.
Seconded, Mayor Caniff.
Any questions? Seeing none, we'll put it to vote.
Councillor McGrail.
yes,
All votes are in. Motion passes 13-0. The last planning application, 11E, application for zoning bylaw amendment, William Hodge and Bridget Levine Hodge, 18125 Equus Trail, Community of Raleigh, South Kent.
Is there anyone present other than the applicant and or their agent with an interest in the application? Please raise your hand.
Mr. Mayor, I do have one more letter of support again from Ross and Joyce Brush, to whom it may concern, regarding zoning bylaw amendment D14 RA 6722H, property located at Equest Trail. We live and own property on Stonehenge, which is adjacent to the subject property. We are agreeable to this proposed amendment. Thank you.
Councillor Scotchy and Councillor Doyle, can I get you to move this, please?
Thank you, Mayor Caniff. So moved.
Seconded.
Any questions? Seeing none, we'll put it to vote.
Councillor McGrail.
yes,
Thank you. All votes are in. Motion passes 13-0. Mr. Mayor, we now move on to deputations. We have 3 deputations, all with regards to item 15A, the IESO expedited LT1 RFP municipal support resolution and request. And our first speaker this evening is, Interjex and Kruger Energy, JJ Davis and Oliver Creighton.
Thank you, Mayor, Your Worship, Mayor Caniff and council members. My name is JJ Davis, and I'm here with Oliver Creighton on behalf of Interjex and Kruger Energy. I've lived, worked, and played in the community the last 12 years, and Kruger, via Kruger Energy, has been here now for over 15 years. We had the first wind farm in Chatham-Kent, and it was the first Siemens wind farm in Canada. And it's still one of the best performing and maintained wind farms that Siemens has across Canada. When we built, prior to the Green Energy Act, we adhered to all the municipal and provincial rules, and where there were none, we did it in such a positive manner that they were used to inform future rules that were required. And I have no doubt that what we propose today will only continue that. In fact, we've already engaged, even though we don't have a contract or anything yet, it's just a proposal. We've already engaged fire services with the municipality. Our partnership with Interjex will leverage existing infrastructure, reducing the needed footprint and the cost of constructions relative to building a completely new facility. It will enhance and grow the relationship with the area farmers and residents in one of the most rural areas of Chatham-Kent. And it serves southwestern Ontario with electrical capacity right beside the region's Honey 230 kV 4-circuit transmission system. And the partnership also will provide the municipality of Chatham-Kent with serious monetary support via the Community Benefit Fund, taxes, and other means that you're aware of. And it lends to future stability and security for our employees and our wind assets while returning a profit to our owners. To summarize, in my mind, it's a good deal for everyone. So we're here and we're able to take questions if there are any. And overall, thank you, Council, for taking your time, considerations, and efforts to making an informed decision.
Thank you. Next speaker is Cedar Line Greenhouses, Kevin Mills.
Thank you, Mayor Caniff and honorable councilors of Chatham-Kent. My name's Kevin Mills, and I'm the Chief Financial Officer for Cedar Line Greenhouses in Dresden and Truly Green Farms in Chatham. Today, I'm here on behalf of Cedar Line Greenhouses to seek the support of the municipality for our 12-megawatt cogeneration unit expansion. Cedar Line Greenhouses and its sister company, Truly Green Farms, are a locally owned group of companies that own and operate 106 acres of greenhouses and employ approximately 300 people in the municipality of Chatham-Kent. The company in 2017, through a joint venture with a local ethanol company, pipes waste heat and CO2 across the road into Truly Green Farms greenhouse, which reduces energy costs while boosting tomato yields in the greenhouse. Previously, the waste heat and CO2 were vented directly into the atmosphere, where they are now being recycled, making Truly Green one of the most efficient greenhouses in North America. Presently, Cedar Line Greenhouses provide safe and reliable electricity to the province of Ontario through a 5-megawatt natural gas cogeneration unit. The cogeneration unit has environmental benefits, as more than 50% of the waste heat generated by the cogeneration unit is recycled and utilized by our greenhouse. Doing so reduces the company's carbon footprint, as the greenhouse is not required to generate heat from its boilers for its greenhouse operations. Waste heat is needed to maintain a constant environment for which the plants need to grow. The Independent Electricity System Operator, known as the IESO, has the responsibility of operating the electricity market in the province of Ontario. The IESO is currently seeking a 900 megawatts of natural gas generating expansion, and all accepted contracts must be operational by May 2026. The IESO has identified future energy demand due to the electrification of Ontario's economic growth initiatives and the sunsetting of some current power generating facilities. Cedar Line Greenhouses is strategically located to meet the demand needs while minimizing transmission distances to where the power is needed most. The company is in the process of finalizing a bid to the IESO, whereby the company is proposing to expand its 5 megawatt of generating capacity to add an additional 12 megawatts. One of the company's missions is to reduce our carbon footprint. Harvesting the byproducts of energy generation for the benefit of greenhouse production achieves this mission. The company is planning for further greenhouse expansion in 2024 by adding an additional 30 acres of glass greenhouse in Dresden. This expansion will support economic development for the municipality, and for the additional 30-acre expansion, it'll utilize the waste heat and CO2 from the 12 megawatt cogeneration unit expansion. Today, we seek your support for the motion at hand for Cedar Line's 12 megawatt cogeneration expansion. Thank you for your time and consideration.
And the final deputation on this report is from Boralex, and I will read on their behalf. The site location, Chatham Switching Station is hub for transmission for region, ideal location for storage. Electrical infrastructure in this area is expanding. The station is expanding for Hydro 1 and 2 new lines in the future, Hydro 1. It's near the 401 and Highway 40 Communication Road Corridor. Soundscape is defined by human environment, not natural environment. And council was provided their 3 slides with the photos on it. That's all the deputations this evening. Moving on to consent agenda. So council, we only had 2 items on the agenda. Item 15A has been pulled by Councillor Jubinville and Councillor Wright. Therefore, the only item on the consent agenda this evening is item 14A, the Drainage Board recommendations for its meeting held on February 7th.
Councillor Finn and Councillor Hall, can I get you to move this, please?
Happy to move it.
So seconded.
Any questions? Seeing none, we'll put it to vote.
Councillor McGrail?
Yes.
All votes are in. Motion passes 13-0.
Item 15, Community Development.
15A, IESO expedited LT1 RFP Municipal Support Resolution Request.
Councillor Jubinville and Councillor Wright, can I get you to put this on the floor, please?
I so move it.
I'll second it.
Councillor Jubinville?
I'm just wondering if we can separate, in order for voting purposes, if we can have the wheat energy storage, the Chatham battery energy storage, and Chatham-Kent battery energy storage as one vote, and then the Cedar Line greenhouse cogeneration unit as another vote.
So is it okay if we go, so 1, 2, and 3, so 1, A, B, C, and 2 and 3 together, and then just vote on the D separately?
Yeah.
Is that what you're looking to do?
Yes, D,
Okay.
D is Cedar Line, is
Okay.
that D? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Councillor Wright, do you have any question?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Through you to Bruce, how long before we're gonna be able to go to the public with answers on setbacks and what the zoning's gonna be and all the information for the public so they know how close the houses can be and everything else? That's my only question. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Caniff. So the next step in the process is the proponents will go forward with their submissions on their proposals to the ISO, which will take a couple months before they know whether they receive a successful contract or not. So I would speculate sometime in the spring, they'll start working on their various approvals and more details and design on their projects. So over the course of this year, later in the year, that's when more details will come out about the projects. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Oh, any other questions? Councillor Story?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Probably to you, Bruce. So this, what we're voting on tonight is just to move these projects to the next stage of approvals. This is not an approval of the project per se, it's just moving it to the next step of consultation and IESO review. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Mayor Caniff. So tonight's recommendation is whether or not politically the municipality wants to provide support on these applications moving forward, but you're correct, they still need to go through a level of environmental assessment and then local planning approvals as well before they are finally approved. And obviously they need to receive a contract too from the ISO before. That would be the next point of whether they decide to move forward. Obviously, if they don't have a contract, they won't move forward. Mm-hmm.
Seeing no other questions, we'll put it to vote.
Your Worship, just so for clarification, the motion on the screen says in the preamble, I know we're changing it, but in the preamble it says for the 4 following long-term projects, that will be changed to 3 projects? Okay.
So council, the first one that will be on the floor is item 1A, B, C, 2, and 3. Councilor McGrail?
Yes.
All votes are in. Motion passes 11-2. And now we'll move on to 1D for the fourth project. And Councillor McGrail.
Yes.
Thank you. All votes are in. Motion passes 13-0.
Notice of motion, Councillor Hall.
Thank you, Mayor Caniff. I, Councillor Aaron Hall, hereby provide notice that I will bring forward the following motion at the March 6th, 2023 council meeting for discussion and voting. Whereas community engagement remains a council priority, and whereas building collaborative partnerships to advance the vision of Chatham-Kent is embedded within this priority, and whereas multiple committees, organizations, and boards of directors exist across the province of Ontario and Canada as a whole, and whereas having representation by Chatham-Kent elected officials on many of these boards, such as AMO, Roma, SWIFT, Alpha, and others, is beneficial and supportive towards achieving council's priorities, and whereas many of the aforementioned groups provide a form of compensation to elected officials for their commitment, leadership, and participation in these groups, and whereas work associated with these groups goes above and beyond the regular duties of Chatham-Kent elected officials and their local committee commitments, therefore be it resolved that 1, staff be directed to engage with the Citizen Review Committee for Council Compensation to examine the issue of elected officials in Chatham-Kent accepting payments, stipends, per diems, or similar benefits associated with participation on regionally, provincially, or federally focused committees, boards, or groups if they choose. And 2, a staff report with recommendations be brought back to council by June of 2023.
Okay, we'll move to non-agenda business. Councillor McGrail.
Thank you, Mayor Caniff. I just want to bring to light and inform everyone of the upcoming meeting on Wednesday night from 7 to 9 in Pancor at the public school. It's in regards to moving grades 7 and 8 to the high school. So, especially Tilbury and obviously my area, any area that has a French public school will be concerned, and I've heard from our constituents, and they are concerned, and they would love to see some support from council just by being there, obviously, because there's not much we can do because it is the board, the education board. But yes, this Wednesday from 7 to 9 at the public school in Pancor.
Councillor Story.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. One of the great Black History Month events was last night at the Capitol Theater with Freedom, Spirit and Expression of Black Music, which was wonderful. So kudos to the Capitol Theater staff for bringing that really great entertainment to our community. Tomorrow night, Valentine's Day. If you don't have Valentine's plans, none of you have an excuse now. At Red Barn Brewing, Jamal Cody, who is a fantastic jazz musician, has a performance at the Red Barn, and with your ticket you get a beverage of your choice, I think a tasty snack, and the live music. So I would encourage you to head out to Red Barn if you have, if you don't have Valentine's plans yet. Those could be great Valentine's activities for you and whoever you choose to be your Valentine tomorrow night. Thank you.
Councillor B. McGregor.
Thank you, Mayor Caniff. Had a quick question for infrastructure and engineering. Received some questions this week. Some flags have gone out, underground locates down Victoria Ave, and some residents were concerned. There was a rumor that there would be some trees coming down, allegedly sold for lumber to a Toronto company, and just some general questions around what the next steps of the Victoria project look like and what impact that's going to have on trees in that area.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through the mayor to the councillor, I did see those emails, and I can confirm that those trees. There is no truth to the rumor that's out there. I think that's been put out there. Unfortunately, the next step really is to finalize the design and then get ourselves ready for construction in the future. But in terms of the trees, I can say there's no truth to that rumor.
Thank you. And those current location flags, those are for moving some of the above-ground infrastructure underground, correct? Like the hydro lines and service to houses?
Through the mayor to the councillor, that's correct. It's for utility locates to do the various works in the utility area.
Thank you.
I'll go to Chief Case, and then I'll go to Bruce McAllister has some exciting news about an award we've municipalities won.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Mayor wanted me to pass along, a couple of months ago, we were approached by Handy Brothers, asking if they could enter into a partnership with us and support some of our home safety work, some of our work to look after vulnerable people in the home. As a result of this, every one of the Handy Brothers engineers has received training from our public educator, Whitney Burke, on home safety, so they can try and keep their customers safe, as well as spreading the good news about what we do. And a couple of days ago, we received a donation from Handy Brothers of over 100 carbon monoxide alarms, which will be installed in vulnerable people's homes around Chatham-Kent as part of our ongoing campaign. So an excellent example of a public-private partnership. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Bruce.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. So we just wanted to let everyone know that last week our Economic Development Services group and our Diversity, Equity, Inclusion and Justice, our DEIJ team, were recognized provincially for their marketing campaign. They did a few months ago now. It was back in the fall, to help local business support members of the 2SLGBTQ plus community in the workplace. Specifically, it was at last week's Economic Developers Council of Ontario Awards of Excellence ceremony. The campaign was awarded first place in a newly created category by EDCO, is the name of the short form of that group. The category is specifically called Inclusive Community-Based Initiatives and Programming. The specific objective of the marketing campaign was twofold. It was to collaborate with local partners to raise awareness within local business community of ways to support the 2SLGBTQ plus community. It was also to spread awareness regarding local associations, advocate groups, resources, and allies alike. So exciting news, always to win an award at a provincial association like that. So.
I think we just set a record, 2 applauses during the non-agenda business. There we go. That's great news. That's something that we should be proud of as Chatham-Kent, standing out. There's 444 municipalities out there, and we won first place with that campaign, and it just shows that we're growing not only from an economic perspective, but just from an overall societal perspective. So, great news. We'll move on to first and second reading. Councillor McGrail and Councillor Jubenville. Can I get you to move the first and second reading, please?
Sure, I'll move that.
And I will second it.
Anyone opposed? Motion carried. Third and final reading, Councillor Story and Councillor Allen.
I can move that, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Happy to second.
Anyone opposed? Motion carried. One other thing I forgot to mention during the non-agenda business is we have 2 birthday councillors today. Councillor B. McGregor and Councillor Crew both have their birthdays today, so maybe we can have a trifecta, a little applause for them. And to honor them...
We're both 38.
Yes. Which one's lying? Oh. With that, we'll honor them with being able to close the meeting. A resolution of council. So Councillor Crew, and then I'll ask Councillor B. McGregor to second that.
Thank you, Mayor Caniff. I move that Chatham-Kent Council adjourn to its next meeting to be held on Monday, March 6, 2023, and that Chatham-Kent Council authorize itself to meet in closed session on that day to discuss any matters permitted by the Municipal Act.
Will the real 38-year-old please second that?
So seconded.
All right, anyone opposed? Motion carried. Have a great night, everyone.